Let's turn our attention now to the syllabus. Now the syllabus, much like the course page, has my name, my email, the Zoom link, office hours. It also has a link to the YouTube channel where I post the video lectures for the course. There's a statement of purpose and an overview of the course together with learning objectives for the course overall. There's a list of prerequisites. There's a statement of the categories that the course fulfills within the university, and then a statement about the course format. The readings are all linked from Beachboard in the syllabus, so this is a zero-cost course for you. Let's take a look now at the assignments and assessments. So your course grade is going to be based on a few different components. 60% of your course grade will be based on 4 take-home tests that you will get questions for a week to 2 weeks before time. You will write essay answers to them and you will put them in the Dropbox. When you put them in the Dropbox, you will have a Turnitin feedback report that you can have access to. So you should look at that turned-in feedback report. Make sure that you don't show abnormally high. If it's yellow or red, you might want to look at it and make sure that you're not going to be violating any of the cheating or plagiarism codes on this exam, either intentionally or not intentionally. Each of these tests will then be graded and returned to you with comments, usually within about a week, and they'll be worth 15% each for that total of 60% of your grade. In addition to that, there will be 3 labs. These labs are active learning exercises that are intended to build upon your experiences and readings in the courses to give you a deeper understanding of the issues at hand. Each of these labs is going to be worth 5% for a total of 15% of your grade. There are 15 weekly quizzes. These are relatively low-cost quizzes, 1.33% for a total of 20% of your grade. But I remind you that every time you miss a quiz, that's an entire 1 1/3 percentage points off your total score. So please try not to miss those quizzes. Try to be prepared for them. The goal for the weekly quizzes is to help you rehearse the material, to make sure that you understand it, and to give you feedback. In fact, usually the quizzes have pretty extensive feedback for all the answers so that you have a better sense of how well you understand the material, how your understanding of the material relates to my understanding and my requirements for the course. Finally, there'll be 5% potentially possible for participation, quote unquote. Normally, that would be in the form of attendance or speaking in class, but for this online course, the participation grade is going to be based upon the percentage of assignments that you complete during the term. So again, I'm incentivizing you to keep up with the class, to do the assignments and to turn them in. Even if you don't get a perfect score, right? If you turn in 95% of the assignments, then you'll get 95% of that 5% of the course. I assign grades that are A through F on those take-home tests, and usually I'll assign a point total as well. I'll usually have 3 questions. Each question is worth 0 to 10 possible points, so the range of points for your test will be 0 to 30 usually. Now, it goes without saying that I adhere to the university cheating and plagiarism policy, and if I suspect that students are not submitting original work, if they're word-for-word identical passages, if there are quotations that are not cited, etc., then I will take appropriate action as required under the CSU cheating and plagiarism policy. Your final grade isn't going to be curved, in part because there'll be 4 to 5 extra credit exercises that allow you to earn extra credit points that can be applied to usually the take-home test, sometimes to your quiz totals, and that helps to curve the grade by selecting for people who are really trying to learn the material and doing work to try and reinforce that material. Grades will then be on a strict scale of 100 to 90 for an A, 89 to 80 for a B, 79 to 70 for a C, 69 to 60 for a D, and below 60 for an F. And again, even if you don't do well on some particular assignment, there are these extra credit assignments that allow you to earn points to get applied to the raw scores of some of your assignments, and that can raise those up. The usual communication, late submission, drop add policies, and accessibility policies are all part of the syllabus and part of the class. And I would note that I happily accommodate any students with disabilities, but it is a student's responsibility to inform me of their disability and their need for accommodation. And this is all done through the Office of Disabled Services. Here's the Disabled Services on-campus phone extension, and they serve as a source for evaluating students' needs. They also can sometimes proctor tests, though I don't think they'll be fulfilling this role in our class. And here's a link. There's also a link on our homepage for the course. So as we go through each week, there'll be a list of learning objectives, a discussion of a lesson overview for every module. There'll be recorded videos. Here's the class orientation video that I'm recording right now. Here's a link to a reading and writing philosophies page, so readings. Here's a link to an exercise that you then go and do a beach board quiz on afterwards. Here's a link to the Theaetetus, and so on. Now, since we have some component of the class that is Zoom, and since there's a potential for students to be interacting with each other on the discussion board through Zoom and so on, I just add this netiquette expectations, this set of reminders or rules to remind ourselves that we're always going to be treating each other with respect. We're trying to interact with each other constructively. I've never really had much of a problem with this, but I do want to point it out. Finally, our fourth test here is going to be due at the end of the finals period for the course. You'll have to have it submitted to the Dropbox on Beachboard by then, which is Tuesday, December 15th at 2:30 p.m. Again, if you have questions, you can email me. You can also post a question on the class discussion thread of the discussion boards, and you can ask during any of the Zoom office hours or make an appointment to have a Zoom office hour with me if you need to.